So Star God Liza has came out, and with her releasing, I think it's about time that we renew the Grand Summoners tier list that I did all those months ago, which I think at this point is about 5 or 6 months old, and it definitely needs renewing because I put Kirisame at the very top. I don't know what I was on, but I don't think he's up there. Not to mention too, a lot of new characters came out. I don't even know if Fate was out at that point. Maybe Fate was out, I don't remember. Either way, a lot of new characters came out. We also had Tensura that dropped, so that's pretty cool, and then we had the new Shangri-La characters come out. Quite a bit of characters to tackle and to see who is actually where, and we're just going to be going in alphabetical order as we have here and just putting them on the list. Now, as you see here, we do have a few different categories. We have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. S tier, of course, is reserved for the best of the best characters. We may make an SS tier depending on how crammed S tier gets, because I do feel like there are certain characters that are above the rest of the pack. You know what? Yeah, we're actually going ahead and make an SS tier. An SS tier, which these guys are above everyone else. S tier, which are just the really broken characters. A tier, pretty solid characters, right? Very good. And then we have the B tier, which they're okay. They probably only do like one thing though, which is mostly damage. And C tier is like, they're maybe okay here and there, but not really. And then D tier is just god awful. To be honest, I feel like no one's going to end up in the C or D tier. I feel like pretty much everyone's going to be residing in the B tier. So without further ado, let's start this list off with Ainz, just like last time. Now, as I've always said, Ainz is just a fantastic character. He does so much in terms of arch genning, he lowers crit res, he buffs up crit damage, and for demon teams, he is absolutely fantastic. Of course, later on, he might fall out of favor just a little bit since we are going to be having units like Dark Rosetta and stuff coming to the game, but overall, Ainz is still a fantastic unit, and I think easily still an S tier character. The main thing that holds this guy back is just his animations. His animations is what's going to cause him to drop down to A tier, but he is coming back very soon on Grand Summoners Global, which means he's going to get a little bit of modifier buffs, if I'm not mistaken, and he does get a true weapon as well, which does help him out a little bit. But yeah, the main issue is still at hand. The man's just slow. Albedo is actually, I want to say a little bit better than what I previously kind of rated her. I think I rated her a little bit lower, but I'm going to put Albedo into A tier. Albedo is a fantastic mitigation tank for demon teams, which is kind of all the buzz right now, especially if you have Demon Lord Vox and everything. Slotting in someone like Albedo can really benefit that team. The main issue I want to say in like demon teams is just when you got to slot her in, because it's so hard to take off some of those characters since they're so freaking good. But yeah, for dark demons, she is fantastic. Arthur is actually one of our newer characters that just came out, and she is also amazing. I'm actually going to put her above Ainz because, yeah, this unit is completely disgusting. You got Arch Gen that pretty much stacks with every single unit in the game, apart from other characters that have the type F Arch Gen. She can function as a damage dealer or as a breaker for you, which just gives you tons of versatility and tons of usability. If you take her all the way up to LB7, her slots are fantastic. Even without LB7, her slots are insanely good. And yeah, there's not too much negative to say about Arthur. Easily one of the best characters from Shangri-La Frontier. Now, on the complete opposite end, combat form Milim. They just messed up with this character. They really did. The whole stacking mechanic and everything just made this character so freaking annoying to play with. The fact that she could get to ridiculous amounts of break or ridiculous amounts of damage, but then as soon as you switch to the other one, you just lose it all. It's a very just stupid mechanic. I don't know why they did it like that. I could see it be like a thing like, okay, you maybe stack all the way with like your damage, and then if you switch to breaking an enemy, then you lose like 1 stack on damage. That would have been fine, but losing all of your stacks is just way too much, man. It's not good at all. This pretty much makes her a low tier damage dealer. Well, I say low tier, but she still can hit insanely hard, but I don't like using her. I don't like having to play around that mechanic. It's just not worth it. Another character that is insanely worth it though is Chloe. Chloe, ridiculous arch gen on this girl. Crazy arch gen, crazy damage buffing potential with 100% fire res down, insanely good breaker, and she's able to buff up other break units. Chloe is a little bit better than Arthur, if I want to be honest. Arthur, I think, is better as a breaker or damage dealer, but in terms of support and everything, Chloe's still absolutely better. The only issue I really have with Chloe is that she's type E, if I'm not mistaken, which is like the crossover arch gen type, and pretty much every single character in the game that is from a crossover that arch gens is practically in there, so that's her main issue at the moment. But everything else, still amazing with this unit. Chobe is going to be going in A tier. This unit doesn't get used too much anymore, but he is still a fantastic character. 100% defense ignore when you're above a certain HP threshold. You get ramping damage or ramping break power depending on which one you use. That's just duration based. You don't lose it like you do with combat for Milim. Also, every single time that he uses his true art or his super art to get either more damage or more break, he's giving himself stacking art gauge. So he's just making himself quicker and faster alongside his other characters that are on the team that are giving him more damage and art gauge. Whenever I need to use someone that just is kind of like that middle ground between a breaker and an attacker, I'm going to the man Chobe every single time. Oh, Demon Lord Rimuru. Now, this guy right here, instant S tier. This guy's insane. 120% dark damage that stacks to the entire team. You got an art that's able to give you crit rate for like 45 seconds and like 150 art gauge instantaneously after using your super art. You have a true art that lowers damage res by 70%. This guy is one of the best units in the game, especially for Dark Demons teams. If we're talking specifically Mono Dark Demons, he's easily a double S tier. But outside of Mono Dark Demons, he's just a regular S tier character. Insanely good damage on this unit, insanely good versatility. He can be used in so many different things. Also, the slots on this guy, whew, so freaking good. They're so good, man. Another character that involves this S tier is going to be Diablo. Diablo, one of the best passive abilities in the game. As someone who is a sucker for support units, Diablo is just Diablo gives the characters to his left and right, isn't it like 6 arts per second as long as he's above 90% or more HP, or if you have his true weapon, I think it goes down to 80% or more. It's really not that hard to actually stay above that HP threshold, especially considering his best team is Mono Dark Demons, and their entire gimmick is healing the team and staying alive and using stats up and everything. So Diablo just makes that team so much better with the arch gen, and also he has dark res down. He can lower defense equipped CTs too. He has usability outside of Dark Demons as well, since he can also just be an arch genner for the team. As long as you have, you know, another healer or something on the team, you're gonna be able to keep him above that HP threshold and have his arch gen all the time. He also stacks with everybody in the game, arch gen wise, so you don't have to worry about any type of arch gen typing. Easily one of the best characters from it. They really popped off with Tensura. I'm just gonna say right now, like with the rerun of Tensura, they really popped off. Apart from combat for Milim, she is the only one that's trying. Demon Lord Vox. Now, here's the thing that I gotta mention with Vox. Overall, Vox is like an A tier character, possibly a B tier character. However, this guy is the Mono Dark Demon leader. That's what I'm going to be calling him. He's the Mono Dark Demon leader. And if you're considering Mono Dark Demons, he is easily one of the best in the game. He deserves the double S tier if you're using Mono Dark Demons, since he is so freaking good at making that team work. However, if you are not talking about Mono Dark Demons specifically, then he is an A tier character. You're not going to be using him. He doesn't really offer you too much outside of that Mono Dark Demon setup, but inside that Mono Dark Demon team, oh yeah, big boy numbers. So in that regard, I'm going to be putting him above Chobe and the A tier, actually above Albedo as well. Just know that this is where he's at outside of Mono Dark Demons. Inside Mono Dark Demons, like I mentioned, he is double S, but outside of Mono Dark Demons, he is just a regular A tier character. Gabimaru is actually, he's still one of my favorites, man. I love this character, especially his animations. My God, they went off. He's definitely one of my favorites from Hell's Paradise, but he's just a damage dealer. He doesn't really do too much else. He buffs up fire damage. He gives himself super crit rate. He can nuke like crazy, but yeah, just a damage dealer. He's cool. Illya, I would want to say, is like an A tier unit nowadays. She's still good, and I think she still functions as a pretty solid damage dealer. You know what? Actually, we'll buff her up to S tier. Just for the simple fact that God Liza came out, and it definitely gave her a much needed buff, since God Liza also buffs up magic damage and everything and light damage. So yeah, I would say Illya is now an S tier unit. I don't know. I just feel like compared to other characters, she's just not as potent. Also, her slots are god-awful. That's another thing that's really holding her back. If she had like a heal slot and like a support slot, or if she had just one or the other, a heal slot or a support, in her equip list, she would be insanely good. But she doesn't have that, so it's just, I don't know, it's just hard to recommend this unit. She's okay. She's definitely still good, but yeah, compared to like other characters we have now, like Sunraku and all that, yeah, I mean, she's alright. Jay, my goat, man, my freaking goat. I love this guy. Am I being biased? No, I'm not being biased. He's S tier. Jay trivializes so much stuff in the game. Since you throw Jay at it, right? he's like, okay, this boss, crazy to take down. Instantly hits him, boom, he applies, what is it 70% DR down or is it 90% DR down? I can't remember. Either way, makes them take a ton of more damage. If you need him to stack up damage with his super art, he can. If you need him to stage clear on every single stage, he can instantly do that. He's insanely good at it. He has damage res if you make him the leader. If you don't make him the leader, he gives himself tons of accuracies. Really, the only issue with Jay is that he doesn't have any type of innate defense ignore or crit rate, which doesn't really matter because he gives himself so much in all other aspects of his kit. It's like you could easily provide that to him. That's not an issue. Also, if you make him like 120 luck, easily one of the best luck units in the game. Kirisame also deserves this S tier. I don't think he's SS tier anymore. He definitely is an S tier character though. I would say he is above Jay and he is above Illya as well. He's just a taunt tank. He does his job pretty good. Like, one thing I don't get about Kirisame, every time I use him, he just dies, and I don't understand how that happens. He has so much DR, and this guy just crumbles at times, which maybe it's just because I don't have everything going. I'm not burning the enemy. I just have like his regular DR and stuff, so maybe that's the reason why he feels like he's getting got at times. Either way though, I still love the guy. One of my favorite artworks in the game, well, his regular artwork, not his ascended one. He's pretty much can be your only taunt tank forever. I don't think you'll ever need like another taunt tank in your entire life. Valentine's Day Miranda trashed. So she does have some uses here and there since she is a poison character, but in most situations you're not going to be using her like at all. Considering the fact too that we have other physical res down characters in the game like Yuzu that just provide physical res, also provides archgen and other support, so it's just overall better than that of Valentine's Day Miranda. And yeah, I just don't like her. She's just not a good character. Miyu is a character that is pretty good though, and I arguably want to put Miyu in S tier just because she is that good at dealing damage and doing her job, but I'm gonna put her at the top of A tier. Do I want to put her above Demon Lord Vox? Yeah, I'll put her above Demon Lord Vox. So Miyu is easily the best damage buffer for human units in the game, and she's easily one of the hardest hitting magic characters in the game too. Stupid damage on this unit. You get tons of arch damage like right out the gate, tons of arch gen 2 for like the first like what 120 seconds of a quest. You have 100% defense ignore with the super art, 150% attack and accuracy, which is insanely good even in niche situations where you need to fight a boss that has a lot of evasion. Her slots are insanely good too, and yeah, she's really freaking strong, especially in like raids and everything. Like if you are using God Fen for like your main raid nuker, then you also throw Miyu on the team. Well, that's giving God Fen 200% more damage instantly. If you have this character and you haven't built her yet, build her. LB her, you know, maybe get some crest on her. You won't be disappointed. She does freaking work. Gamma is next, and Gamma is, I would say, top of A tier alongside, right beside, yeah, I would say she's under Demon Lord Vox. She's really good as a nuking character since she does provide tons of support slots onto the team. She also buffs up all demon allies arc gauge by 50 at the start of the quest. She has magic res down, if I'm not mistaken, on the super art, and she does something else on the true art. What is it? Oh yeah, she buffs up the leader character by like a ridiculous amount with the true art. If you ever need a nuke with demons or just a nuke in general, you could just use her on the team for all the support slots. Magic res down, the crazy damage buff with the leader. Oi, I think is the only character that might be worse than Combat Form Milim. Actually, no, I think Oi's better than Combat Form Milim. Yeah, I would say Oi's better. Oi at least provides flinch res. He also provides magic res down. And to be honest, the only thing that's really holding Oi back is just he has no type of damage buffing in the kit or no type of like stacking. I really wish he had some type of stacking mechanic or something else because he just feels like a character that should have that. If you use him, you should treat him more as a debuffer than like, oh, he's a damage dealer. Debuffing wise, you know, he offers a lot with like the damage res down, the magic res down. He also can provide, like I said before, the flinch res. So he's okay at times, but yeah, I don't think he is that good. He's definitely missing a lot. I did use him recently in the God Liza showcase, and he did work really well there. If this guy had 100% defense ignore or some crit rate or something else going for him, I think he would be drastically better. Valentine's Day Priscilla easily going all the way at the top of S tier. She works everywhere, man. She is so good. Not to mention too, the heal on this unit is instantaneous. As soon as you flick up for that art, you heal the team instantly. That is very good. Some people don't know how good that actually is, but that is insanely good compared to other units that you may have to wait for them to do something. This was the most annoying thing known to mankind when Mako was so prevalent in the meta, was was you would use her true art and then stage transition, her true art didn't go off. And this is one of the characters that I wish I would have got, but hey man, next year, whenever she comes back, hopefully she comes back, I might be able to walk away with her because I definitely want her. I definitely do. Psyger Zero, I just feel like it's very underrated. Like, yeah, the art shit is low, but just everything else in the kit is just so good. The tons and tons of damage buffs that you give to the entire team being a human. Also, the super art, I know some people will say just doesn't hit hard, but if you buff her up with like other characters like Senki or just other like, you know, units that are going to be buffing up light characters or physical damage or whatever, like Draken, you're going to see that thing hit pretty freaking hard. I've made that thing hit ridiculously hard in my showcases and stuff. So I like Psyger. It's just, I can definitely see why some people are kind of underrating her, but just the kit is amazing, right? The kit's really good. I don't think you should say Psyger's bad. If you feel like Sistina is good, then I feel like you can't really argue that Psyger's bad because they're literally practically the exact same kind of character. Ren is an easy S tier as well. I would say Ren is above J, and actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say Ren is at the top of S tier alongside Valentine's Priscilla. This is pretty much damage buffs the character. Also, really good on mono fire teams. Like if you're running her alongside Sunraku, Valentine's Priscilla, and then, you know, Summer Iris later on, or, you know, maybe you use BF Mirror instead, literally one of the best fire teams in the game. Saber Alter is, I would say, a B tier character. She is alongside Gabimaru. I would say she's probably better than Gabimaru just because she has more hits in her super art, more than likely does more damage too. She's just a damage dealer. That's the main issue with a lot of the attackers that are in the Ascendant era. They just deal damage and nothing else, and since they only deal damage, they're just not that versatile. Saber Alter still an insanely good attacker. I know a lot of people are like, oh, is she not good anymore? I never see anyone use her. No, she's still really good. It's just other characters do more than her, so that's the reason why no one really uses her. But yeah, if you need a damage dealer, like if you're doing raids or something and you need a nuke a raid or you need a nuke a boss, bring Saber Alter to it, just throw her at it, and she'll more than likely kill it. Sagiri is going up into S tier. I think Sagiri deserves to be up here with all the other ladies. I just not realized that we just have all the girls up here at the top of S. But yeah, Sagiri, one of the best earth units in the game, tons and tons of art gauge, pretty good damage mitigation as well. Also does have a damage buff in the kit too, right? And the earth res down is amazing, especially for characters like God Fen, who's gonna want that. Yeah, insanely good stuff here. Very, very strong, very potent, and overall just a fantastic unit, man. I love Sagiri. I use her every single time that I'm going to be using mainly an Earth team, and she never disappoints me. She does so much for the team, and I love her. Demon Edge Berwick. I don't think this guy was out the last time we did a tier list. Before I used him, I would say he was probably kind of more down here, but after using him, I think he's actually one of the better attackers. I would say B tier, possibly an A tier character, just because of his arch gen that he provides to the team. He is slow, which is his big like caveat. With the arch gen he provides to the team, also the all stats buff as well, he's offering a little bit more than other units, and he's buffing up physical damage by like 200% too, and he definitely has versatility outside of just dealing crazy damage. I guess the only issue with him is that if you're using him on mono fire, especially alongside like Valentine's Day Priscilla, his physical damage buff and her physical damage buff actually won't stack with each other. I'm pretty sure his would just take effect since his is the larger of the two. Senki, easy S tier. I think above Psyger. I think above J. I even think above Illya. I want to say even above all these guys. Yeah, I want to say she's up here with the other girls. Senki is freaking insane. This character gives you so much arch damage, really good damage res, and also lowers the enemy's light res by a ton. Not to mention as well, with her true weapon equipped, she can do nukes to like no other character in the game. Another thing is too is that she actually stacks damage res with pretty much every other unit in the game, especially Shirou. You know, Shirou gives the team 30% DR passively, but Senki, since she is an active DR buff, that will actually stack with Shirou, which makes your team just insanely tank heavy, right? The only bad part about it is that that damage res doesn't stack with other units DR that are active, like Priscilla, for an example. Valentine's Day Priscilla and Senki's DR just do not stack whatsoever. But outside of that, one of the better damage buffers and attackers in the game. She is insanely good and one of the best units, man. I love her so much. Easily one of the top S tier characters. Star God Liza, this is our first SS tier character. My god, where do we start? Where do we start with this unit? So this character gives you so much equipment CT speed. All of your equips are just, she functions as an arch genner. One of the things about regular Liza that was just like, I mean, it's good, but like you don't really use it, was the fact that her arch gen was type B and it was tied to her art. Also, it didn't last for that long. I think her arch gen was only for like 10 seconds. But with Star God Liza, she's just a complete upgrade from regular Liza. So they now put it on the skill and they made it to where it's like type E? No, type G or something like that. I forgot what it is. But it's the skill arch gen type, which the only other character that has that on this list here is going to be Rin. So the light damage buff as well with the magic damage buff too. Like, it's just so much this unit is doing. Like I mentioned in the showcase video, this character isn't as crazy as someone like War God Fen, in my opinion, just because War God Fen, you use him and you get instant gratification, right? Like, you get instant value because you throw him on the team and he's going to be able to like just kill whatever's in front of him. As Star God Liza is going to be more so filling that support role where she can, you know, deal damage and kill a lot of stuff that's in front of you, but she really wants to help her other team members and bring up the team than more so be like the star player. I don't think there's really an issue with her. The only issue I have is her animations are whack. Like, they're just regular Liza animations, just with a little bit more flair, and they barely did anything with them. And another issue I have too is that auto AI doesn't work with this character completely, since we can't ether recast with the auto AI, which is stupid because JP has that but Global doesn't. That needs to be in the game instantly. I don't know why it didn't come out with her release, but they need to get on top of that and make sure that ether recast gets added to the auto AI system. Shalltear is actually going to be getting buffed relatively soon, but even with that being said, I think this shield's to still be like one of the best damage dealers in the game. I think she's gonna be under Gabimaru still and Saber Alter, just because she doesn't give herself super crits. Even though she does buff up her crit damage by 200%, which is insanely good, super crits are just better, man. 3 times damage compared to just, you know, regular 1.25, isn't it, that crit damage does? Yeah, I think crit damage is just 1.25. You know, that's a huge difference. She's still going to hit insanely hard. She's still going to be one of the better magic damage dealers in the game and one of the better crit damage dealers in the game. Just without super crit rate, man, she's not going to be, I guess, the ideal character to go to a lot of the times. Still is really good, though, especially with this freaking character up here getting added. My god, she made Shalltear hit so much harder, and with her buff it's just going to be even crazier. So yeah, still going to be one of the best characters in the game, especially for light units, but I wish she had super crits to an extent. Shirou is our next double S tier character here. Shirou trivializes the entire end game and just every piece of content. The man gives so much damage res to the entire team, can easily support the team by himself. You don't even need a taunt tank if he's on the team. He gives everyone the thickest barrier known to mankind. He also reduces physical res. He has unlimited blade works, which just makes his entire kit even stronger. 100% physical res down, more art gauge, really good slots. Like, what's not to love, right? I would say at times he's in a league of his own, like even away from everyone else, because the amount of damage mitigation that he does and just the amount that he helps at endgame is pretty much parallel to none. Like, no other character really does that. So whenever Fate comes back, if you didn't get Shirou, I hope to God everyone who missed him gets him the second time Fate comes back, because Fate will eventually come back. Hopefully. It should, hopefully. Sunraku. Now, here's the thing about Sunraku. Alright, I feel like Sunraku isn't as crazy as this guy here, okay? I think War God Fen's buffs and everything are still better than Sunraku's buffs and all that, and it makes him SS, right? But Sunraku, oh man, I think he's up there too. I really do. Sunraku is so strong. His animations are instant, by the way, so you instantly apply crit res down. He has insanely good self-sustaining arch gen for himself. The arch gen is insanely good too. It's like 6 arts per second. He's type E arch gens. Literally, this combo right here is one of the strongest combos in the game. Freaking Sunraku and Valentine's Day Priscilla is ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like he deserves this double S tier, man. I mean, if he's not double S tier, you could say he's S, but I strongly believe this guy is a double S tier unit. He is just insane. Easily one of the best characters we've gotten so far in Grand Summoners Global, and yeah, he's just ridiculous. There's no other way to put it, dude. Dude does damage. Dude is just a god. The other character, of course, that deserves it is War God Fen. We went on ahead and put him up here because I feel like if you talk about Sunraku, you have to talk about War God Fen, or if you talk about War God Fen, you gotta talk about Sunraku because they're so similar. War God Fen's the buffing one, and Sunraku's just the debuffing character, right? The first Ascended character to come out in the game, right, still is killing it. Arch-gen, equip buffs, accuracy buffs, crazy damage with the super art, not to mention as well the 50 art gauge passively to the team with the tactics ability is just, I mean, dude's a menace. Dude is an absolute menace. Really, the only thing that I would say is that he's not really even falling off. I know a lot of people are like, oh, War God Fen, I feel like he's starting to get weak. No, it's not that he's starting to get weak. It's just other characters are finally starting to catch up to him. I'm actually surprised we're at that point where characters are catching up because it took them forever to catch up to this guy. What is it? Ascended units have been out for a year at this point. In Grand Summoners Global, what would we say, a year, about 8 months or so, 9 months, something like that. So practically a year, and they're just now catching up to the first Ascended unit that came out in the game. This was even longer in JP because War God Fen reigned supreme for what, like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And it wasn't until like Star God Liza came out where there was like, oh, okay, he finally has like somewhat of a rival. But then once Shangri-La and like Fate and everything started coming out, it was like, okay, now we're starting to catch up to War God Fen a little bit. But yeah, dude's still insanely strong, one of the best characters in the game, insanely future-proof, and I love him. I love him. So freaking good. Yuzu is a character that I wish I got to. I don't have her, and I hate it because she does so much with her 200% physical res, Arch-gen and everything. She deserves to be up here with everyone else. Yeah, insanely good unit. I don't know if I want Herald's Paradise to come back, if I'm gonna be honest, but if it does come back, I hope I get Yuzu. Another thing too about this unit that I started to pick up on recently was how good she was in raids. Since in raids, you're gonna be more than likely nuking with just one character, or you want one character to deal ridiculous amounts of damage like War God Fen or Sunraku, and having that 200% physical res down instantaneously on the boss just makes it so much better, man. You're gonna want that if you can get it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's actually the tier list right there. As I said, I feel like a lot of the characters are in a really good spot right now. Like, overall, I would say the game's in a pretty good spot too, with the Ascended units and everything. I know a lot of people, you know, are still pretty mixed with Ascended characters, but yeah, it's in a very good spot. Units are just designed better. They do more. They actually have uses compared to the Awoken era, where there were so many characters that were just like, they're okay, but like they don't really do much. I feel like they didn't really know kind of like what made a character good back then, or they were kind of like experimenting a lot. But since, you know, they had that entire Awoken era, now in the Ascended era, they know what makes these units good. They know how to make a character broken, and they can even do it without giving them like tons of damage and stuff like that, like they did with Shirou Illya, or, you know, Valentine's Day Priscilla, or any of the other units that you see here on this list. And I'm pretty confident with this list. I would say this is gonna be my list until I guess BF Emperor comes out. Maybe I'll update it again around that point. It won't be for a while. It will definitely be for about another like 6 months to like a year will probably be how long it will be till we get another tier list update from me. But yeah, that would be my Ascended tier list currently. I would say the Ascended tier list for 2024. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this one. Tell me down below what you guys think about this list. Would you guys change anything? Would you guys put a character higher or lower on the list? Or how would you do? Let me know all that type of stuff down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video though, highly recommend you check out either one of the other videos popping on the screen right now. Great content, guarantee you'll love them. Oh, and one more thing before you leave. Don't forget to drink water.